It's Ketchup Packets.
Hi, everybody. I'm Sean.
I'm Nate.
This is Lewis. You've never been here before, so I don't want to just, they're going to be like, wait, did I miss an episode?
No, yeah. Well,
That's Lewis.
I'm Lewis.
He's joining us. We're watching another movie today. Today we're going to watch the 2016... Today we are going to watch the 2016 Denis Villeneuve movie, Arrival. Nate, what do you know about Arrival?
I know it's a movie about a spaceship that touches down. And that's pretty much it. That's all I know about it.
Okay.
Never seen it before. I think I'm the only one here who hasn't seen it.
Yes,
At least once.
Nate has never seen it. Lewis has seen it once. I've seen it a few times. This is a movie that I've liked to watch other reaction videos to sometimes too, because it's a good one. So, all right, Lewis, do you have any pre-thoughts about the movie?
No, I'm interested to go into it. There's the thoughts I have I don't want to talk about because I don't want to,
Sure.
spoil anything for Nate.
You don't spoil anything for me.
Do you know anything about this director, Denis Villeneuve? Am I saying his name right?
I have no idea, but it the first time you said it, it sounded like a film studies descriptive word. I was like, what is that? What? No. Okay.
It's true. It sounds like denouement or something like that. One of those fancy film words. No, I think he's a French guy. Denis Villeneuve. He made Blade Runner 2049. He made Sicario. He made Prisoners. He made Enemy. These are all very good movies.
I don't think I've seen any of those movies.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen any of those?
No, I've been meaning to see Blade Runner 2049 because I love the original, but it just hasn't popped up yet.
This guy's a good director, and his new movie coming out later this year is called Dune. So,
Ooh.
Oh, right!
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah!
He's,
That I'm excited for.
Well, we're going to have to watch more of Denis Villeneuve's movies. Sorry if you guys can hear my baby screaming upstairs. She's partying with her mom. We're going to have to watch more Villeneuve movies on this channel then, because he's good. I think he might be my favorite director currently, if I had to pick one. So, yeah, but I guess without further ado, let's jump on into Arrival.
Yeah, let's do it.
Sweet.
Memory is a strange thing. It doesn't work like I thought it did. We are so bound by time.
Is that one of the aliens? Oh no, it's a baby.
They do seem kind of like aliens when they're that little.
Yep.
Yeah.
These are my tickle guns, and I'm gonna get you. You want me to chase you? You better run.
The world would be a better place if wars were fought with tickle guns.
Would the world be a better place, or would tickling just be more horrifying?
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
Weapons manufacturers coming out with thicker and thicker boots.
And this was the end. Come back to me. Baby, come back to me.
God, it's so heartbreaking.
Yeah.
It's like the intro and Up.
Yeah.
It's like
I was just thinking that.
gut-wrenching.
This is the first time I've watched this since having a daughter, too, so
God.
it's even harder.
I believe in beginnings and endings.
Any news you want to share?
Dr. Banks, can you turn the TV to a news channel?
Just about as close as we can, but unfortunately Montana right now is on complete lockdown.
The object apparently touched down 40 minutes ago just north of I-94.
Sorry, just Montana being on complete lockdown. You can't do that now.
Yeah, little did they know, locking down any red state is impossible.
This is worldwide. It is happening right now.
Where are they supposed to be?
in university.
Well, no, I mean, like, where, like, what geographical location?
The United States. I don't know.
Okay. It's like, why, like, maybe
USA.
Maybe they're in Montana, and I was just like, why would they play the alarm?
I feel
Aliens are here, Lewis.
Okay,
like
yes, but like,
everything would kinda-
you're.
If you have an alarm, set it off. There's jets.
Come on, people.
We gotta look good for the aliens.
Keep it real.
If this is some sort of peaceful first contact, why send 12? Why not just one?
That's a great question.
Well, Mom, please don't bother with that channel. How many times do I have to tell you those people are idiots?
I wonder what channel they're talking about.
Yeah, what could it be?
Me? Yeah, you know me. I'm about the same.
I've generally in my life thought it would be kind of like fun to be around during like first contact and stuff like that, but the reality of it is actually pretty terrifying. I don't think it's would be fun at all.
Yeah. I'm reading books about that topic right now. The three-body problem.
Yeah. And whenever this kind of stuff shows up in media, I always think about whoever it is that works in the basement of the White House or the Pentagon, who's like, all right, I guess my job today is to write up what we do if aliens land.
Yeah.
And send it to these movie producers.
Yeah.
In reality, though, I think they'd just be like, nuke it. Just nuke it immediately.
Yeah.
Well, unless, you don't want to provoke a retaliation.
I don't know.
It's like if you come face to face with a grizzly bear in the forest. Even if you have a gun, you might not necessarily want to just shoot it in the face right away.
That's a good point.
It might not end the threat and just make it a lot more angry, and it might just go away without attacking you if you don't shoot it.
I think if they bothered to come and touch down here, travel the reaches of space, probably want something out of it.
That's assuming that's as big of a cost for them as it would be for us.
Yeah.
But I mean,
space is big.
Space is it's gonna They have they're be so far beyond us that it's just be like.
Well, what do we know about how humans treat species that we consider ourselves to be so far beyond?
Mm-hmm. We're indifferent to their interests mostly. Yeah.
From the site of the 12 UFO.
And already the public expects us to know the answers. I'm Colonel G.T. Weber. I have something I need you to translate for me.
Where did you come from?
Now you heard it. What do you make of it?
It's not much to go off of.
How would you approach translating this? You hear any words? Phrases?
I don't know.
So what can you tell me?
I can tell you that it's impossible to translate from an audio file. I would need to be there to interact with them.
Are those people?
Yeah. I understand the fascination, but don't get close to the thing. Don't.
And on the off chance that the aliens say we're taking whoever's nearby with us, those people want to be the people who are nearby.
I mean, for all you know, though, it's just like a giant bomb or something. Like it could. They don't even know it's a craft for sure. I guess they know that much, but it could be ready to blow. Don't get close to it. Could be radioactive.
Yeah, never leave your house.
Yeah.
Seems reasonable. It's real
This
pretty.
shot is cool.
Yeah.
I do really like the design on the ships.
Yeah. That must have taken like the world's biggest fog machine, though.
I'd prefer if the ship was a giant head that went, show me what you got.
Just alien watermelon seeds.
Yeah.
I love just the show of the difference in scale of what they're dealing with. You know, they have the little army encampment, but the size of the ship is just towering over everything that we have.
Yeah, it makes the humans seem so tiny.
Order the captain to medical. Shoots should take just a few minutes, and then we'll get started.
It'd be so hard to just go about your business in this camp. Like, how do you not stand there and stare at it?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, anyone looking over there?
See what's happening?
A lot of West Wing style following shots, little corridors.
Out of the house. At exactly 112 minutes and 19 seconds. And gravity stopped.
They're not having a rapid-fire conversation while they're doing it.
Nope.
Yeah.
They're in silent awe.
It doesn't take 18 hours to pump fresh air into a room.
Atmosphere?
Excuse me?
If their atmosphere is different from Earth, it would certainly take hours to rebalance the O2 content and pressure for us every time they open their door.
So you're saying they could suffocate us if they wanted?
This is Agent David Halper, CIA.
Yes. What do you think this is, dude?
That's what they did. They decided to come across the stars to Earth and then trap us 2 by 2 in a gas chamber.
It's important to keep an awareness of how they pose a threat, you know?
Yeah.
Every time you can identify a way they pose a threat, to keep an awareness of it. I get that.
What kind of radiation exposure are we walking into?
Nominal. These are just for safety.
So is there any physical contact with the, am I the only one having trouble saying, aliens?
There's a wall, like a glass wall. You can't get to them.
What is it?
I like that description of this wall. It's like a glass wall. But
So you mean a window?
The window is within a wall.
That's true.
The entire wall is glass. It's just a glass wall.
yeah. But they're like, oh, we don't know what it is.
It's like a glass wall or something. The existential dread that I would be feeling doing this.
Honestly, yeah, just having something that's a kilometer and a half.
Yeah, this is some Lovecraftian horror.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, we really are very insignificant, aren't we?
Yeah.
Wouldn't even want to. I wouldn't want to be that close to underneath it. Yeah.
So the door just opens every 18 hours. So that's why the CIA guy was asking about, like, it doesn't take 18 hours to refresh the. Like, he was wondering why do they have that interval? You know.
Yeah.
Understand as much as you can about what you're seeing.
Don't touch it.
Yeah, you have to. 'Cause now you're touching it. You know. And now I think your heart would be shooting electricity all through your body. Like, okay, now we're going inside.
I think I would be fainting right about now.
Yeah.
Be like, no, I changed my mind. I don't want to go. I don't
Whoa.
Because they just got like an industrial lift.
Yeah,
too.
it's so funny. It's like the aliens not think, like, what if we didn't have a way to get them up in there? Do they have a way?
Like, if they can't figure this out, they're really not worth our time.
Oh, cool.
It's a really great way to show how that works.
Ready?
Yeah, how do you respond to that?
Oh my god. Just don't turn around though.
Yeah.
God.
Oh, yeah.
Don't look. Oh.
You can do this. Come on.
I think.
It's like why they make first-time skydivers be strapped to the instructor.
Yeah.
You won't jump out of the airplane by yourself the first time.
Yeah.
That's gotta be real weird though, because it's
it can't... Because all of your signals would be saying, yeah, this is down.
Yeah.
Exactly,
Which my feet is down.
Right, it's a magnetic wall, you know, that's what you have to think of it like.
So, yeah, like
I would never turn around. I don't want to look down that shaft at the ground, standing sideways. Man.
We're gonna go down there, and you're gonna start your job. Okay? Everybody move out. Alpha detail is in position.
Did they even negotiate salary for something like this?
Yeah, right.
Is the pay just the opportunity to interact with aliens?
Yeah.
I really hope they're getting something for all this. Yeah, she's definitely not thinking to herself, we're gonna meet aliens! This is gonna be fun!
She seems to be motivated by rivalry with the other linguist from the other university she mentioned, you know? Like, I'm here so he doesn't get to do it.
Yeah, right. Now is not the time for pettiness.
I just think she thinks the next best guy will get it wrong, and she wants to be the one to get it right.
Yeah.
Fate of the entire planet might depend on it.
More than the planet, who knows the scale of their influence?
Yeah. Call me selfish, but I'm really not that worried about any other planets besides ours, honestly.
Dr. Banks, you can start.
What are they saying? I hope they got a recording of that.
Am I fired?
You're better than the last guy. You both have till 0200 hours to figure something out.
What happens then?
You go back in.
Do you think she was hoping to get fired right there? She's like, okay, I met the aliens, now do I have to actually do work?
I love the cinematography. All the design of this movie is just great so far.
Yeah, he's a good director.
144 members of the St. Lawrence Pentecostal cult are feared dead after they set their compound ablaze. Their website claims the arrival of the aliens set in motion a prophecy that 12 sets of 12 should...
Maybe not the best reaction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate to break it to you guys, but that's not what it is. The fact that everyone hasn't been immediately vaporized or anything like that kind of tells me that the aliens are here to ask for help or something like that. It's kind of the vibe I'm getting.
Well, they definitely seem like they're also trying to facilitate communication if they haven't initiated conflict yet.
What's
You
that
know it's
for?
going to take a minute to figure out how to talk.
Look, I'm never going to be able to speak their words if they are talking. But they might have some sort of written language or basis for visual communication.
Okay, let's get started.
Bring like a pen and paper or something.
A whiteboard. Reusable. I like Colonel Weber a lot. He's a good subversion of the trope of the military guy in a situation like this, you know? Many movies would have him just be naysaying everything Amy Adams says. Right. But he genuinely seems to be... He wants her expertise, you know? He brought her here because she will have ideas he won't think of, and so he wants to listen to her.
I'm picturing them just like bringing out like a giant alien whiteboard.
And they just write the word alien in English.
That's cool. I was kind of right.
Okay, slow down, fellas.
Okay, we got it on video.
I don't want to take away from your success in there. But Dr. Banks, is this really the right approach?
Yes.
Everything you do in there, I have to explain to a room full of men whose first and last question is how can this be used against us?
In 1770, Captain James Cook's ship ran aground off the coast of Australia, and he led a party into the country, and they met the Aboriginal people. One of the sailors pointed at the animals that hop around and put their babies in their pouch, and he asked what they were, and the Aborigine said, kangaroo. It wasn't until later that they learned that kangaroo means I don't understand. So, I need this so that we don't misinterpret things in there, otherwise this is going to take 10 times as long.
And remember what happened to the Aborigines? A more advanced race nearly wiped them out.
That's a good warning. We do have some reference for what happens when these sorts of situations arise.
Yeah.
Thanks. It's not true. But it proves my point.
Does it prove your point if it isn't true?
Have you met General Shang? The call sign for him is Big Domino. Whatever Shang does, at least 4 other nations will follow.
Luis. But the big domino isn't the thing you start with.
What do you...
You start with a small domino and it knocks over big dominoes, is what Lewis is saying.
Help me understand.
See, he's not like getting in her face and being all angry and you're doing this wrong. He's like, explain this to me so I can sell it.
You should just erase a bunch of complex...
Okay, this is where you want to get to, right?
Here's the question.
Okay. So, we need to find out, do they make conscious choices or is their motivation so instinctive that they don't understand a why question at all? And biggest of all, we need to have enough vocabulary with them that we understand their answer.
Stick to your list. Just don't add anything to it.
You can really see in Forrest Whitaker's performance that there's just the enormous weight on Colonel Weber's shoulders.
Right.
Like he's the person who has to do this. You know? He's got to get it right. He wants to make sure his experts are working correctly.
Dr. Banks?
It's okay, baby.
Yeah, I'm fine. They need to see me.
She's taking off her hazmat suit. Dr. Banks!
The bird is fine. Clearly they balanced this place for Earth life, you know?
Just don't walk through the glass pane. Is there something solid there? It's kind of hard to tell.
I think you'll find out in a moment.
Don't touch it! Wow.
Just this big, gross starfish hole.
Yeah.
And the aliens are in there like, what is this? What, you don't even have a hole in your starfish?
Yeah.
That's proper.
They don't even seem like they have like heads or any sensory input organs, you know?
Yeah.
How are they
They
sensing?
can see, I guess, somehow.
Like their ship or their bodies, their written language has no forward or backward direction. Linguists call this nonlinear orthography, which raises the question, is this how they think?
I feel like everything that happens in there comes down to the two of us.
Yeah, it's a good thing though, right? You and I?
It's a lot of pressure.
800,000 march on Washington to protest the government's handling of the crisis. All this and more special coverage.
They haven't really done anything yet, right?
They're marching because they don't have the answer yet.
We could be facing a full-scale invasion, and our president is just willing to sit back and let them walk.
This guy's definitely an Alex Jones XP, right?
Asleep at the wheel, people. You know what I'm talking about? I know you do. What if the smartest thing we could do right now would be to give them a show of force? I'm talking about a show.
That's the stupidest thing we could do right now.
It's a great way to use your platform by stating your opinion and starting with what if, you know?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I'm fine.
not sure it's something I can explain.
When was your last checkup with Dr. Kettler?
I'm okay. Let me get some air. Come on. I'm okay.
I mean, they've been spending a month going into a giant floating egg, talking to 7-footed aliens.
I think it's probably prudent to have them doing regular checkups with doctors to make sure they're not being affected physiologically.
I'm curious. Are you dreaming in their language?
I mean, I've had a few dreams, but I don't think that makes me unfit to do this job.
Weird. Did she see that? Or was that mostly for us?
I think that was her dream. The entire scene was her dream. That's why we're hearing the canary chirp, too.
Gotcha.
What does it say?
Offer weapon.
So how do we clarify their intentions beyond those 2 words?
Well, I go back in. Right away, we go back in and we clear this up.
It's more complicated than that.
How is it more complicated than that?
Colonel, the Secretary of Defense is on the line for you.
It's a high-stakes phone call?
Mm-hmm. You know what it means. We have to consider the idea that our visitors are prodding us to fight among ourselves until only one faction prevails.
There's no evidence of that.
Sure there is. Just grab a history book. The British with India, the Germans with Rwanda.
History's not evidence, is it?
Yeah. For it. Don't worry.
Damn it! We need to be talking to each other.
You want to talk to them? Find out what this means.
Yeah, let me back in. I'll do it.
Well, she just has to magically know what it means.
Oh. I see. That's the only option, huh?
Use weapon. This is the alien message said to have provoked the Chinese government to withdraw their scientists from the international mission today.
Are they rigging a bomb?
C4. 4 pounds.
Why?
Because they landed in America.
That's right.
Blow it up.
The escort units are not responding, sir.
Why not? Said security.
Offer a weapon. Question mark.
I want to know about the heptapod language app development process.
Yeah. Kept it cool for so long. You're doing such a good job of not shooting them and blowing them up. That's the technology they're offering is glass. They're like, check this out. We've been trying to offer it to you this whole time.
They're knocking. They're like, hey, y'all see that bomb?
Yeah.
You falling asleep, Lewis? Can't really use any footage you're falling asleep in.
No! Oh, God.
Okay, well, we gotta go,
Yeah.
but here's a bunch of information all at once.
Okay.
All bad. Why? Why with the bomb? Why do we have to be like that?
The fake.
You suffered a concussion.
Oh, yeah.
Alex Jones.
Reactionary radio broadcasts.
Mm-hmm. A century-long American tradition.
What happened in there was an attack. We can hope for the best, but I have orders to prepare for retaliation. We may have to evacuate.
No, that's the wrong move. As long as they stay, we have to stay.
What about the bomb? Didn't they just blow them up with a bunch of C4?
This thing's like a mile long.
Yeah, but
like a bunch of C4 is not gonna necessarily bust that in half.
I don't know why. C4's pretty. And now it's gone, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, never mind.
The Air Force and infantry are standing by.
Yes, sir.
I'm trying to remember where I know that guy
China
from.
becomes the first world power.
What is infantry gonna do? Their ships aren't even touching the ground.
Following the failure
They shoot
of
at it.
diplomatic efforts of the
Pew, pew,
United
pew, pew.
Nations. The People's Liberation Army said the aliens have 24 hours to leave Chinese territory or face destruction. And he urged all other world leaders to unite with China and take a similar stance.
No. Why did they blow it up? Why did they set off C4 inside of it?
Those were rogue soldiers, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, is that
Forrest
what-
Whitaker didn't even know what was going
Yeah.
on. He was like, why aren't they answering? Yeah, those were just dudes there who were like, this is our best decision.
Got it.
Yeah.
So they should probably be court-martialed for that.
I think they're going to go to the stockade, probably.
Yeah.
What they're saying right here is that this is one of 12. We are part of a larger whole.
Or we're one of 12 contestants for the prize.
Why do I have to talk to him? We need to talk to the other sides. Many become one could just be their way of saying some assembly required.
Why? Hand it out to us in pieces. Why not just give it all over?
What better way to force us to work together for once?
Even if I did believe you, how in the world are you going to get anybody else to play along and give up their data?
That's the question.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, say we
Humans just
believe
keep
you. What
stopping,
next?
so-
Yeah.
Humany. We sing so much. Cool.
What the hell is she doing?
See, they put down the Bluetooth speaker, and then
Say, time is a fat cylinder. I'm glad you like that one.
that's good. It's a quality True Detective joke.
That's cool.
They're like, no more opening the door. We'll bring you up. You're cool.
Now she's rotoscoped.
You got CGI zero-G hair, like Julie Mao on The Expanse.
Aliens are big Joy Division fans.
Those are musicians, right?
Yeah.
I don't know them.
They're goth, but the like album cover or like symbol is the sound waves like layered to look kind of like a landscape.
I see.
Yeah, yeah.
Do not like the CGI hair.
I'm okay with it. This is crazy though. How is she breathing? I'm a little confused. Like, why with the smoke?
I think it's an atmosphere that they can breathe as well. You know, I mean, they made some sort of a mixture that's okay for her, but also okay for them.
Big old gas bags.
Oh, they are huge.
Where's Abbott? I don't understand. What is your purpose here? How can you know the future?
The animation is so cool. You can see like the little pieces in its body moving and stuff.
child.
The show is called Mommy and Daddy Talk to Animals.
Whoa.
What does that mean, Nate? That'd be pretty frustrating for the alien to leave at that moment.
Yeah.
What did you just say?
Wait.
Wait, what? Huh?
You telling me this is the future? I think you're in trouble, Louise. The ship is taking off.
Yeah.
They're not gonna like that.
You alright? What happened?
Trying to figure it out. This is too big.
Doesn't matter now. We have orders to evacuate. Russia and Sudan are following China.
So now I'm confused by the timeline of the movie.
It's not over.
Yeah, okay. So I should be confused?
Yeah.
Right now?
Louise
Okay,
is
good.
confused.
Yeah.
Are you gonna leave me like Daddy did?
Oh, Hannah, honey, your daddy didn't leave you. You're gonna see him this weekend.
He doesn't look at me the same way anymore.
Believe it or not, I know something that's going to happen. I can't explain how I know, I just do. And when I told your daddy, he got really mad. And he said I made the wrong choice. It has to do with a really rare disease. And it's unstoppable. Kind of like you are. Your swimming. And your poetry and all the other amazing things that you share with the world.
I am unstoppable.
I don't know about all that.
About all what?
That she's unstoppable.
Well, she's... I mean, you get what she's saying.
Yes, I do. Just being insensitive.
You know, kids in movies listen way more than kids in real life.
It's true.
I just realized why my husband left me. My husband left me.
You were married?
Oh no.
Oh god. Crank the wheel, oh no.
I guess point the missiles at it. I mean,
Right,
Gonna take it out with a helicopter now?
Hey. Look, we're done here. We're taking this with us.
she's like, hang on a minute. I can see the future.
It's not a weapon. It's a gift.
The weapon is their language. They gave it all to us. Do you understand what that means?
So we can learn Heptapod, if we survive.
If you learn it, when you really learn it, you begin to perceive time the way that they do. So you can see what's to come. But time, it isn't the same for them. It's non-linear.
Look, we did our best, but it wasn't enough.
Oh, come on.
Captain Willow job, you'll be lifting off in 5 minutes. Ian, Luis, it was an honor to work with you.
Now, I don't think that he's saying that he personally isn't interested in what
Yeah.
she's saying. I think he's
Like,
like, look,
it's just
this,
actually
the
story.
people above us have now said we have a different approach.
Yep.
We'll find out where we're going.
I like that character a lot. I like the way that he subverts the trope of the military guy the scientists are dealing with. There's a heptapod flag with all the flags.
18 months ago, you did something remarkable. Something not even my superior has done.
What's that?
You changed my mind. All because you reached out to me on my private number.
Your private number, General, I don't know your private number.
Oh, crazy.
Now you know. I believe it was important for you to see that.
I called you, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
She's got superpowers.
Yeah.
But if he showed her that in the future because she already did this, then there's the, cause and effect is an illusion,
Yeah. I do love this idea of the heptapods, like, going through space and, like,
Alright, let's shut down the system.
chronoforming their future.
Here's a sat line here dialing China. Here? What do you mean, here? Whose phone is it?
I like that actor a lot too. Michael Stuhlbarg is great. He's in lots of stuff.
Doesn't matter what you say. We've already seen the outcome.
You still have to do it though.
Never forget what you said.
Got your bags? Well, drop the phone now or we shoot!
真正不长久英雄。
谢谢。谢谢。
Blackout from all 12 landing sites continues this evening.
Scientists from around the world are sifting through information received from the UK,
Breaking news, the Russian armed forces are now revealing the information they've acquired from both of their landing sites and more.
What? They just dissipate?
Were they ever even there?
Yeah, good question.
I like how whatever it is that they do to do this, they made it look cool.
Yep. Yeah. It's important.
We were never shown any images of what the moment they arrived looked like either, like nobody seemed to witness.
They were just kind of there, I think.
Yeah.
I think they're in remote locations and there really weren't any witnesses to their arrival.
I don't know, there was that one that was floating over a highway, knocking down...
No, that's true.
Yeah.
Just crushing the power lines.
Yeah. Killing at least dozens of people, right?
I don't know. We blew up one of theirs too, so...
Yeah.
R.I.P. Abbott. He was a good boy.
Pisses me off, man.
This is where your story begins.
So they're gonna need our help in 3,000 years, is that what he said? Was it 3,000? So they had to come to Earth now to do this, so that later on...
So we'd be ready.
Yeah.
If you could see your whole life from start to finish, would you change things?
Maybe I'd say what I feel more often. I don't know.
It's a real heavy question to ask.
It is. Well, it also seems like a catch-22. Like, if you could see your whole life from start to finish, would you change things? And then that's your life from start to finish.
Yeah.
So it's
Can
like,
you change
right?
things?
Yeah, that's what. I don't know. Maybe it's not quite a catch-22, but it's some sort of a weird causal thing like that.
No, it's
a Dr. Manhattan paradox.
I forgot how good it felt to be held by you.
You can imagine she's probably saying a lot of stuff like that, where he just has to be like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, sure.
You want to make a baby?
Oh, that's not okay.
Yeah.
I've had a different impression of that line before. I thought that was them at the landing site, and I was like, that's such a weird thing to say. I'm more forgiving of that line now than I usually. I was like, I hate that. It ruins the end of the movie. But it's like, no, okay, that's all right. Misunderstood.
Yeah. It's a jump cut to
them at their house a long time later. Yeah. I thought it was them like just realizing they were into each other, and he says that. I'm like, Ian, what the hell, man?
Yeah, dude.
But she knows now that he will suggest it, and then the child will die, and that he will leave once she reveals that she knows that.
Yeah. And how does the kid have like sounds like the kid kind of knows stuff that the kid wouldn't know. Like,
what do you mean? Well,
like
hang on. All right. So, Arrival. We have arrived at the end of the movie.
Was a good movie. I thoroughly enjoyed that.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty realistic take on aliens show up. You know, in terms it's got the least amount of Hollywood action-y stuff.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was expecting. Was like, you know, like an Independence Day style.
Yeah,
movie,
laser guns and dogfights and stuff.
Right. Very little pew pew pew.
Yep.
In keeping with our realistic sci-fi tradition that we've developed from The Expanse, we're going to Arrival now, you know?
Yeah.
That's got a little bit more pew pew going on, but...
Right, but it's also realistic based, you know?
Right.
It's an interesting concept to have it be kind of from the scientist's perspective of trying to figure out what's going on instead of immediately just the generals being like, okay, we have to kill it!
Exactly.
Kill it with fire!
Like, how do we talk to them?
Yeah, right.
The linguist is the main character, you know?
Yeah.
Lewis, how did it feel for you on a first rewatch?
I liked it. There wasn't anything that, like, clicked different, I don't think.
Even though you had the knowledge from the beginning that everything with Hannah and her family is afterwards, which is sort of the twist the first time you're watching.
Yeah, which I did like that. I like that the twist like works into the theme of the movie. It's not just randomly like also this thing.
I like that it's a good demonstration at the beginning of the movie of, I want to get the word for this right, I think it's called the Kuleshov effect. Have you heard of this? Of like the effect that comes from juxtaposing one shot next to another shot. And like Alfred Hitchcock demonstrated this effect by having a shot of a man smiling. It was himself, you know, cracking a smile from a blank face. And he would juxtapose it with like a little kid playing with their parent or whatever, and then show the guy smiling. It's like, oh, it's a sweet old man. His heart's warmed by the kid playing. And then the second version of it, there'd be like a teenage girl in a bikini, and then you cut to the guy smiling, and it's like, oh, it's a creepy dude. And it's the same exact shot of a man smiling. So
right.
The name for that effect, I think, is like what's created by juxtaposing two shots together. And the reason I bring that up is about the beginning of the movie, when you see all the stuff with her daughter, and then her daughter getting sick and dying, and then it cuts to her walking into her job at the university. And the first time you watch it, you're like, oh, she's in like this malaise and shock of, you know, I've gone through the worst thing a person can experience. What do I even care anymore, you know?
Right. Yeah.
But then you know, once you've seen it before, that it's more just her being like sort of indifference and bored with work. There's a lot less significance to the sort of blankness at the beginning. Yeah,
that's a really interesting like way of playing that off, because everything about her reads as this sadness, and it's not actually there.
Yeah, she's just sad.
Yeah. Well, like she's talking to her mom on the phone, I think, and she's like, well, you know me, Mom, same as always, you know? And so when we're watching this believing that she's gone through this great trauma already, we assume that that's what she's referencing to her mother, that like, you know, this is all that consumes my whole life. But it's actually not what it is. I don't know, I just think it's very cleverly done that way.
Yeah, definitely. I was sort of wondering at the beginning of the movie about how the story with her daughter was going to play into the rest of it. I was sort of like, that felt kind of unnecessary based on what the rest of the movie, you know, you're setting up this character and like their motivations maybe emotionally a little bit, but it really couldn't have been better done and how it was tied in. I was like kind of blown away by that. Yeah. And I was thinking about, you know, my brain was still wrapping itself around the whole concept when I said earlier, like, but the daughter knew stuff that she shouldn't know too, because that hasn't happened yet. But I was like, oh wait, no, that's all after. Like, her daughter being born was all after they talked to animals.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Mommy and daddy talked to animals or whatever. And it's kind of interesting that I feel like they kind of buried the lead a little bit on that, because the little girl, I feel like, would understand that with the canary and all that situation, that was aliens. So they weren't talking to animals, and I feel like she would know. Like, maybe not. Who
knows the way they teach kids about the heptapods in that world, though, you know? They could say, like, they're not quite people, they're not quite animals, they're, you know, these other things, you know, so...
I feel like aliens from outer space, most kids would be like, oh, okay.
Yeah, but also, I don't know, that would be interesting to think about, like, that's... Because if aliens show up, what happens to sci-fi? Like, what happens to that that genre?
Why did they have the flag up in the that party and stuff like that?
The general was talking about how he said to Louise, "You're responsible for this unification." So I think that like the UN or wherever, the world has now begun uniting with heptapod society. You know, like there's an open dialogue, and like they've started to communicate back and forth in some way or something like that. Given that the heptapods were saying in 3,000 years we need humanity's help, you know, so they'd come there to first establish the connection between the two societies so that they could be interacting in 3,000 years when the time comes for humanity to help.
It also gives humanity an opportunity, because of the way that their language works, to change your perception of time, to like kind of like potentially know how to solve the problem before it even comes up.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's all very cool. Man, this was well thought out. The whole thing was just really well thought out.
See, that's interesting, because that's not how, like, on either watch that I've taken that, like, I kind of took that banner there as just like a, like, decoration.
So them acknowledging that the heptapods are out there and that, you know?
Like, I don't know, in the way that, like, the story reached me is, like, the heptapods leave, and then we don't, like, necessarily hear from them for a while until we can like get out into the stars on our own.
So you think the unification that the general was referring to was like the unification of Earth, or like the collaboration about the technology and the language itself that Louise had facilitated?
Yeah. I think that's definitely it. And I think that would be, I mean, like, obviously the ability to see the results, like to see time non-linearly, would change how politics works, because it takes fear of the unknown out of the equation.
Exactly, when you know possible outcomes to possible courses of action, it's a lot easier to make the right choice.
I wonder what word was up on the flag.
Probably heptapod.
Yeah. Oh, probably. Yeah.
Or maybe like unification. Maybe that was. Yeah.
There could have been a whole bunch of words. Like, I think that those circles can contain a lot of content in just one circle, so it could have said a lot of stuff. It could have been a whole like declaration sort of thing, or a statement of unity, something like that.
Yeah, they do leave that a little vague, because they're like, they start off like kind of the circles get labeled with one word, and then the pieces in the circle get labeled with words.
Yeah, like when they were running that app in the movie, the circle would come up, and then there'd be like a whole list of words that would come up on the sides, like all this stuff is in there.
Yeah.
This is based on a short story. I think the author's name is Ted Chiang. And there's like a collection of short stories in a single book that this is part of. And one thing I remember hearing about it is that in the story, the daughter dies in an accident, and I think she's like in her mid-20s rather than a teenager.
Okay.
But I can't even remember where I first heard this. So when he was discussing what it takes to adapt a book into a movie, and what you need to change and why you need to change things and stuff like that, and they used this as an example, because they were saying if in a movie you had Hannah grow to her mid-20s before she dies, Amy Adams would be noticeably older in the scenes towards the end of Hannah's life, and it would give away to the audience right away that this is after, not before. And so you need to make Hannah die a little bit younger so that Amy Adams can convincingly still just look the same.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's an interesting change, though, because like dying in an accident in a universe in which people can tell the future,
it's more preventable.
It seems more preventable. And it also, like, I think one of the things that really, like, there's the line where Amy Adams says that Jeremy Renner's character, like, told her she made the wrong choice, and I took that as the choice to, like, get together with him and have Hannah.
Yeah, to create the child in the first place, right? Yeah.
Because then she's talking about how, like, Hannah has this disease and it's unstoppable, like it's inevitable, so it's some sort of, congenital disease, defect, whatever, or like...
It's just, she said it's just a rare disease, that's all she said.
Yeah, and it's like, the idea that it would be unstoppable kind of, like, says to me that, like, just... that was Hannah, somewhere in Hannah's genetics, rather than like she randomly got cancer.
So he can't speak the language, right? She can, but he can't. Right?
Ian does not speak heptapod.
I think that there is something to be said for like how this happens with Dr. Manhattan too, and just sort of the fact that like things will happen the way that they happen, even if I can see it. And that he might not be able to wrap his head around that and understand, why would you still do this if you know how much pain this is going to cause us? And it's like, because it happened.
Because that's what we did.
That's the story.
Yeah, I'm with Nate on this one. I think that like you're sort of speaking from a standpoint of like possible futures, and a genetic disease is one that is going to be present in any of the possible futures because of its nature, whereas something with a cause from an external force is more avoidable. But I think that this movie is positing a different version of time, where possible futures is not something that's actual, you know, like there's one version of every moment, and Hannah is born and she gets this disease and she dies, and you know, and Louise had knowledge of that, but it couldn't have happened any other way.
Yeah. Well, and that opens up like any time travel, warping movie, kind of the idea of like, okay, well then, is this problem that the heptapods are going to need humanity's help with in 3,000 years? Will they always have had, or always will have had humanity's help in that? And
So they still understood that they needed to put that chain of events into action. Like it's almost like you're like a puppet in your own life.
Right. Well,
you know what
the
I mean?
way that we perceive time and that we exist kind of prevents us from fully grasping what a story like this is meant to be and meant to say, you know, and like it's trying to say that movement through time itself is just a matter of different standpoints of perception, you know, and that time actually is just like this full thing that exists, and we're moving, you know, I don't know, it gets really, you start to sound really weird when you try to
And Abbott knew that he was going to get blown up.
I was just going to bring that up.
They all, like, geez, how frustrating would it be to have that version of perception of time and then have to come and deal with humans and be like, we have to, now the step is that we have to make these creatures that have no idea how we even deal with time whatsoever, like, and teach them how to do it. And like, but you almost just feel like they wouldn't be frustrated because they know they'd be successful, you know, like Abbott knows that he has to sacrifice himself to this, but it's just what happens.
And very much knows that, like, because actually, that's a really nice tight piece of writing, because like they know the bomb's there. They could have done the starfish on the glass, force push it out the at any time, or like push the bomb out at any time, but they couldn't, because if they did, it would be hitting the bottom of the shaft when like they're pulling up to go talk to them the second time in that session. It's
like I get blown up by the bomb.
Yeah,
that's just there was, you know, and if your brain, if you've evolved for your brain to think about time like that, you just don't question it. I don't think it just is.
Right, the idea of us thinking, it would be frustrating to have to enter that situation is only because of our perceptions and the way that we think about changing the future with actions in the present. You know? And if that's not the way that you're oriented, they're not gonna, you know, they won't feel that way. Boy, this is really abstract and esoteric. Really fun for an audience, I hope.
Makes you ask these questions. That's why that was so good. Man, so good.
When the realization just hits her like a truck of what exactly, she's like, wait a minute, you're okay, that's the future? And she just like can't even talk to Ian.
There's something, actually that's an interesting difference, going back and thinking about, like, you had just said, you know, the idea of it makes you a puppet in your own life. Is that there was if we're thinking that Amy Adams, like, kind of general malaise in the beginning of the film is just being bored and going through her life, and same as she always is, the only difference between that and the end of the film is knowing what's going to happen, or this ability, not even necessarily knowing what's going to happen, but this perception of time as, like, not trudging through it, but just you are viewing the world from these different perspectives. I think that's a really interesting, because she's still, at the beginning of the movie, she's a puppet. In that she's just kind of following one thing after another, and afterwards, she's placed herself in a thing, and she doesn't have any necessarily more freedom in changing her life.
Yeah.
She's a puppet who loves her strings at that point.
Right, exactly.
Which is a phrase that I think free will philosophers actually use.
You know, it's frustrating in our current way of conceptualizing time to feel like you're just sort of being dragged along through the motions and you kind of have no control over your life because we have this concept of like, well, if I did things differently, then I would be in a different place. It's like, but you didn't, and you're not, you know?
Exactly.
And then so you can I feel like you would find solace in that idea that like, this is the way my life goes, you know?
Well, and here's the other thing to wonder about too, with this sort of sadness that she's showing at the beginning. At least through the middle of the movie and while she's interacting with the heptapods, when we, the audience, are shown flash forwards of Hannah, Louise is experiencing them, right? So are we to assume that those flash forwards that we're seeing very early in the movie are also being experienced by Louise and she just doesn't understand it at all at that point? She's I'm having these thoughts about this little girl and she doesn't know why, they're just images that are in her head. So could the sadness that she's walking around with even really be echoes of her daughter's death from the future, because at some point she does learn heptapod and so begins perceiving that way, and you know the perception stretches further than the actual learning of heptapod itself. So like the first echoes she's feeling are before she begins learning the language.
Right. So like once you learn heptapod, it's like it doesn't start then. It is because of the way that it shifts time around. It's like if you ever do, then your entire life is sort of...
It branches out in both directions from that point or whatever. You know,
she's feeling sadness from the future that she can't even understand yet.
Could be.
Yeah. That's kind of how, just looking back on the movie, that's kind of how I'm reading it.
Yeah.
Is that she did kind of experience that before, but doesn't understand why she's like depressed from something that hasn't happened yet, and she doesn't have any way to like connect those dots at all.
Yeah. It could also be part of the explanation for the like chemistry between her and Jeremy Renner, because they're long-term partners and they they parent children together or a child together. So that's why they get along right away, because they can, you know, that perception backwards and forwards.
Yeah, it feels pretty instant that they feel like those two characters feel like they kind of knew each other already.
He greets her saying her words to her, you know, like he's reading it from a book. But yeah, that's...
Yeah, I like that. I like that idea. I hadn't really thought about the idea of extending backwards.
Yeah, time is weird.
Time is a fat cylinder.
Time is a fat cylinder.
I really like this movie. I'm probably going to watch it again soon in the future.
Yeah, it benefits from rewatch.
Yeah, it's not even that I feel like I would put more things to. It really puts it together for you at the end. It really like helps you understand all of the pieces. But yeah, it's just super cool.
And the design of it and the direction is also good. And the acting is so great. Amy Adams did not get an Oscar for this. I think she's got one of those Oprah records where Amy Adams has been nominated for Oscars a whole bunch of times and she's never won. This year, she was in this and Nocturnal Animals in the same award season, and she got nominated for both movies, and I think that's probably why she didn't win for either, because Amy Adams voters were split between those two things then.
Yeah.
You know?
Man, I want to learn heptapod.
It's not real.
Come on. You tell me that.
Yeah, well, I mean, it could be. There's aliens out there somewhere, probably. Yeah. Who knows how they talk.
I really like the design on the heptapods.
Yeah.
They really felt alien.
I hadn't remembered what it looks like when she goes into the cylinder with Costello and there's like the upper section of the alien's body. I didn't remember seeing that.
Yeah. But I think that's also a really good thing of like, that's the reveal of the whole thing, and also of like the idea of the plot of the, you know, or the twist of the movie and the whole idea behind why the heptapods are there. And also you get to see the actual physical whole heptapod.
Yeah.
With their weird like Slender Man top half.
Yeah.
It reminded me of a book, Blind Sight. I don't remember the author.
I feel like you've talked about this before.
Yeah, and it's a book with a whole lot of things going on. We resurrected vampire DNA out of humans, and they're used as like supercomputers. Like they're
You lost me with vampires right away.
Yeah,
vampire supercomputers. Huh?
Yeah, but the thing that like reminds me of this is they're going for it's a first contact story. There's a alien ship that's detected out on the edge of the solar system, and they send a bunch of people out there, and it does have a lot to do. It also, like this movie, has a lot to do with perception and the way people think, because the crew is all sorts of different specialists, and there's things like a person who has compartmentalized personalities for different things. Like they've intentionally given themselves dissociative identity disorder.
I see.
And
that sounds like lots of fun.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
There's so much going on in there, but like the aliens are truly alien, like they are in this.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's always cool to see like actual alien designs that feel like, not like Mars Attacks aliens.
Hey, the Mars Attacks aliens are extremely realistic.
Yeah.
They do the international sign of the donut.
Okay. No, but yeah, like aliens that are not just humans in makeup.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Not humans with different forehead wrinkles.
Yes.
On Star Trek. Well, I think that maybe that about wraps it up for our movie discussion on Arrival. We want to start gathering movie suggestions from you guys so we know what ones the audience wants to see. So drop them down in the comments and we will keep a list of everything people suggest. And then once we hit 1,000 followers, we can post polls. So help us get there. We're crawling our way there slowly.
Mm-hmm. Thanks so much for being here, guys.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, Lewis.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me.
You'll be back again.
Yeah, I plan on it.
All right, cool. Sounds good. Well, I'm Sean.
I'm Nate.
I'm Lewis.
This is Catch Up Packets.
Is that the thing we do?